Take over. Oh. Take over. Hello, hi. Good afternoon, good evening, whatever time zone, time frame you're in. This is my second book review video, and I'm going to be reviewing Mansfield Mansfield Park by Jane Austen. So obviously, I'm not at the library. You can tell I am in my hostel, and this is my abode. I'm actually on my bed right now. And I hope you can hear me. I have a fancier setup. I got a mic because the last video was awful. The sound was awful. So, yes, I am going to be reviewing Mansfield Park. And for those of you who do not know, Mansfield Park was written by Jane Austen in 1814. Yes, so over 200 years ago. Who would have thought? Imagine how shocked Jane Austen would have been if somebody told her that over 200 years later, some babe in sub-Saharan Africa is going to be reading your book. Why did I decide to read this book? I want to stop saying book. Why did I decide to read this piece? Yes. I'm actually a great fan of Jane Austen's work. I've read um I think she has 6 published works, and I've read this made it 5. I started Emma, but I really couldn't get into it because I don't know, I didn't really like Emma that much at the time I was reading it. So Jane Austen is the writer of Pride and Prejudice. Also had a Netflix adaptation. It was pretty popular. Sense and Sensibility, Persuasion, Nottingham Abbey, one of my favorites, Mansfield Park and Emma. And I just read Mansfield Park, and I am about to talk about it in this video. So I read Mansfield Park expecting a very boring 19th century literary piece because the name is so boring. What's Mansfield Park really? Okay, where is the spice? Wait, look at Persuasion, Sense and Sensibility, Pride and Prejudice, really, and you ended up with Mansfield. Also, Nottingham Abbey, but Nottingham Abbey had this feminine zest thrown on it, so I kind of felt more inspired reading Nottingham Abbey, and that's the reason why it's actually the last of Jane Austen's book I've ever read, because the name sounded so boring. Um, it had man in it, then it had park, then it had field. But yeah, Mansfield Park, the name was sounded very boring. I was not interested in reading that. But since I'm a huge fan of Jane Austen, I decided to try out. Oh my god, I just kicked my setup. I decided I decided to try it out. So what's actually so revolutionary about Jane Austen was Jane Austen was one of the pioneer writers of, domesticated life in the 19th century. Usually people, especially women, they usually don't write as deep, because Jane Austen actually goes into the households of the main characters and every other thing happening around them and explains them. So you kind of see how they live their life at the time. So I really enjoyed that so much. I really enjoyed that so much. So I really expected a very boring book, but what I got was the absolute opposite. I must say, this was my most dramatic Jane Austen piece ever I've ever read. This was the most dramatic, which I did not expect, because the main character is the most undramatic person you are ever going to read about. So, but it was so dramatic, it was so chaotic in a way. Things are happening very fast, because I kind of thought that it would be very boring, and then it turned out not to be. And also, I did not expect romance. I did not expect anything of that sort, because the name is Mansfield Park. What's there to expect? Unlike Persuasion, where, okay, you can see what she's trying to cook. But then Mansfield Park was just, I did not expect anything. I just wanted to read another Jane Austen's book, and I did, and I so loved it. And I also like the font of this edition. Look at it. It's Garamond. The font is so um it's so unique. Okay, what I noticed about this book was that she tried to tell a, I think she was trying to tell a, she was trying to paint a picture of being rigid, but then still being a very demure kind of person. So Fanny Price is a very delicate, calm, quiet, shy, lovable, compassionate, humble main character. The plot, she she comes from she came did she came or she comes she came from a house where they have very low income, and her mom gave birth to like a lot, they were a lot. So her aunts decided it would be good if they take Fanny because it will relieve her mom of a little bit of a burden. So she leaves her parents' house and goes to this her aunt's place. Nothing, sorry, Mansfield Park. Mansfield Park. So her aunt married a very rich guy, Sir Thomas Bertram. I think they said he was in the parliament. I don't really know what his occupation was, but he had a lot of income. And yes, we are going to refer to journalist Onya at the end of this video. We're going to refer to our journalist, upcoming journalist at the end of this video. So she's going to explain things because I had questions like why were they naming their houses and things like that. So Sir Thomas Bertram was wealthy and he had 4 kids. So we see how Fanny got to live in Mansfield Park and her relationship with her cousins and other people that they come in contact with. Another thing, one very key introduction into the character of Fanny was when she came to Mansfield Park. She just started to cry. She just could not take. Imagine living a very poor house and coming to a very rich house, and then what your inclination is just to cry and miss everybody in your poor house. So you see that she's not a very material person. She has morals, values. She loved her siblings. She was not happy to be away from home. So we just got an introduction into the character of Fanny Price. I'm also trying to do a thing in my video where I don't spoil anything for anybody intending to read the book I am, I'm talking about. So I'm not going to give any major spoilers, but the book surprised me so much. Oh my god, I was so surprised. The ending was so surprising. I think it has to do with the different times that we are in right now. The major thing that happened at the end in the book was very surprising to me because that kind of thing cannot happen now. If it's up for now. So it was very surprising to see that. I'm not going to mention it in case you want to read the book, but yeah, I connected with this book on a whole nother level. Not like I'm a shy person every time, sometimes, but Fanny Price is the representation of what I stand for. I don't like it when people, cut corners or are very immoral, unethical, and they get away with it. Like when people do what they are supposed to do the right thing. And Fanny Price, as delicate as she was, she always recognized the right thing, and she was always guiding people that needed guidance on doing the right thing. So I really like that. Even when they were persuading her to do what she didn't want, even when her was it protege or benefactor, yes, her uncle was persuading her into doing something that she felt was not right. The pressure, imagine somebody that trained you from when you were young, took you out from rags to riches, and the person is telling you what to do. But she was very, strong-headed in doing the right thing, which I relate to very well. It is not easy doing the right thing, and seeing a main character doing it is very encouraging. So I really like that about Fanny Price. So about the characters, there were a lot of characters in this book, both home and away. But the characters I'd love to talk about is Edmund. Edmund was a very kind. Edmund was her cousin, the second son of Thomas Bertram, Fanny's uncle. And Edmund was a kind guy, but I think love kind of derailed him a little bit, which goes to show another thing I just realized. I just had an epiphany of what she was trying to say in this book. I think she was trying to say Edmund comes off as a person that would not do what he doesn't want to do. His father is wealthy. He has a background of knowing what is right and doing it. He was actually to be a clergyman. Yes, but we see about 3 instances or 2 instances in this book where he does what he did not want to do, what was not right, what was not moral or ethical, and he justifies it, and all of them were basically in the name of love. That leads me to another character, Mary Crawford. So, someplace in the book, there's an introduction of this family called the Crawfords, brother, sister, and two of them are kind of the catalyst. They get the book going. So I have my views on the two of them. I think Jane Austen wanted us not to like Mary Crawford at first, but I couldn't help but sympathize with her. You know, she is a very vain, material woman. At first, the way Jane Austen painted the book, it was kind of giving vanity is like from the pit of hell. Yes, vanity is a very bad thing, but I think each and every one of us we are guilty of being vain at some point. You like that fancy new shoe, and you like you'd like to get a very great phone. You'd like to live in a very good and comfortable house. So um I feel like vanity, even though it's not good, it can be found in each and every one of us. But then Mary Crawford took it a bit far because it affected her lifelong decision. I'm trying not to spoil. I'm trying so hard not to spoil anything, but I I didn't dislike Mary Crawford so much because babes just wanted to be comfy. That's all. And you can't really blame some people like that. It's until it blinds them because it blinded her so much. She missed out on so much. So another person was Henry Crawford, that's Mary's brother. He had a case of terminal flirtilitis. I made that up. That was low-key cringe. He loves to flirt. He was a big flirt. He was flirting with everybody, both married and unmarried in this book. He was leading people on. I think Jane Austen wanted us to not like him too, but I mean, I'm sure everybody, okay, let me not generalize, I'm sure a lot of people can relate. If the vibe is there, the vibe is there. But I draw the line at married people, though. He did it with married people. But you don't do that with married people. But sometimes, I don't know, the vibe is there. I might look like a very bad person saying this, but he just wanted to have a good time and but then he ended up, okay, I'm not going to spoil it. I'm not going to spoil it. But that also led to his downfall in quotes. It's actually messed him up in the book. So yeah, I'm not sure there's any. Okay, then her other aunt Norris that was a miser, but didn't even have to mice. So she was mising other people's things and pocketing the money. You see a lot of people like that, especially if you're in Nigeria. A lot of people are like that. They try to pick up your crumbs, look like they're doing you a very big favor, and then they like pocket the crumbs. But yeah, she was very annoying, I must say. But I think that's part of because Jane Austen had this comedy thing going on. So I think that was part of the whole comedy thing going on. Sometimes it just be plain funny how she wants to capitalize on a situation, and you might know she doesn't even most times she doesn't even want money. She will take things like cotton and go back to her house. But yeah, so this book is very worth reading. I would recommend this book to anybody, not male, not female, because some books actually appeal to a gender more. This book, I'm not sure this book appeals to any gender more, even though the main character is a female. I think this book, you'd like this book if you like good books. It's really is what reading for anybody that wants to read like a 19th century slice of life. I think that's the best way to put this book. And I also had some questions about the way they live their life. I asked the journalist. She's going to answer some of my questions at the end, in case you want had questions like that too. So you might not expect much, but the book delivers. It's a very good, great thing to see, and you'll be entertained, and you also get motivation to keep up your life of morality, or if you don't already have one, to ignite it. Yes, she's also there are Christians in the book. I don't know if I have Muslim viewers, but there are Christians in the book. So because Edmund wanted to be a clergyman, so there were some church criticism by Mary Crawford and some backing up by Edmund and Fanny. Fanny. And I also like the name Fanny. It's so funny. Oh, funny. So I'll rate this book a 7 out of 10. 7 out of 10. That's still an A. The three from it is because I wasn't living in the time where Jane Austen wrote this book, and I cannot even relate to the setting because I am in Africa. So there's something about a book where you can't feel the elements of everything. I don't know how to explain it, but the fact that I don't understand some of the things that they do or whatever is going on because of as a matter of the setting of the book, it doesn't make me mix in with the book altogether. So I couldn't really feel some things. But the story is it was a really good storyline, but I just could not feel some things because I have never felt it before in my life. Another thing is that the ending shocked me. I was beyond shocked at the end because why did he end that way? I was just confused. I really do not want to spoil it, but it was a very confusing ending, if I'm being honest. Let's switch over to journalist Onyi to answer our questions. So, journalist, oh, babes, um, can you hear me? Okay. Love your dance. Yeah. Okay. She ignored me. Um, okay, take it away. Some of the questions I had in reading the book journalist, very few questions. She's going to answer it. Okay. Hey, hi, journalist Onyi here. As you can see, the weather is lovely today. We have a clear sky. I can't see it through my shades. I can't see the brightness, but I assume it's bright. And I'm going to be answering some of the questions that reader Onyi has for me. The first question is why the hell did they name their house? Okay, so it's windy, and I'm not sure I'm supposed to be up here. I can see my house from here. Rita Oyi observed that they were naming their houses a lot, right? And she was a bit confused, like Northanger Abbey, Mansfield Park, um, Totten Lacey, places like that. So I did research for Rita Oyi and we found out why exactly they were naming their houses. So house naming was a symbol of wealth. So people that named their houses were significantly wealthy. It also helped in identifying addresses. So the way they have street names now, that's the way they had house names. But significantly, it was basically for the elite to name their houses. I know you're digging my glasses, but let's try to focus on what's important. So another question was how and what did they use to to pee and to poo and to brush their teeth? So after extensive research, we discovered that they actually used things like bones and wood, and then like glue hair at the tip to brush their teeth. And then for peeing and pooing, they had things like what they call a chamber pot. Now, these chamber pots apparently they will poo and pee in it and like hide it somewhere, and then they would have their servants come and take it out. I'm feeling very awkward right now. And have their servants take it out. And have their servants take it out. So either that or they have something called an outdoor toilet, where it's like a hole in the ground and then a wooden something you sit on, which was absolutely disgusting. And then they didn't even have toilet paper. They did not have toilet paper. They had to use things like wood and leaves and moss to wipe. But okay. Another question that Rita only had was if they didn't have trousers, shorts, or slippers, what did they put on for their walks? So apparently they had something called a walking dress. They had jackets, gloves, hats, shoes, reticle, parasol, short, all in one person will wear this whole thing. Um and different other things. So I hope this answers Rita Oyi's question. I'm actually just very excited to be on this outdoor roof. I'm making a video here, and I hope this mic is working well. Let me just walk around for a bit. Hi, bye. Okay, thank you so much. I love your sunglasses. Lol. Why were you wearing sunglasses? There was no sun. Anyway, thank you so much for listening to me rant about a book I read. See you in my next video if I ever make one. Have a great day, and I like you. Bye. Bye.
Life reactions this babe had.
I just got into volume 2, or the title is not volume 2, and I must say this book is incredibly dramatic and I am incredibly entertained, much more than I thought. So if you're wondering where I'm at, don't wonder. I'm also terribly sleep deprived. Is it sleep deprived or sleep depraved? I don't know, but either one, either of which, either, oh god, I am it. Can you see my eyes? I'm not sure I had up to 4 hours sleep last night because of this book, not because of anything noble or pure. I hate reading at daytime. I can't concentrate because there's so many background noises. Like, nobody is here, but then you can hear the butterflies and the other side characters. Even hear the ants here, and it's so bright that I can see, like, my peripheral vision is catching everything. But then at night, like, I get tunnel vision because, like, everywhere is dimmed out. You understand? So I'm finding this very hard to read, and then finding it's very hard not to lay down here and just sleep, but I will survive. Can you stop? Hello. Good. What's the time? Jesus, I cannot see. This thing is too much, but it is night and you can hear the crickets. What's the time? It's almost 10. So sorry. So I just finished volume 2. Woo! And I'm in volume 3. And I'm having a swell time. I'm having a great time. Shout massive. Massive! I'm enjoying this book. Oh. Our MC is going through a lot right now, and it's very fun to see. So volume 2 is the place where most of the drama happens. So I think she intended volume 1 to be an introductory volume. Then in this volume 2, this is where all the kasala starts to burst everywhere. And I don't know if this is the climax or close to the climax. I'm literary, but volume 2 is where most of the drama occurs, and every surprising incident, and even Fanny's first ball. She goes for her first ball. And please, a very big shout out to late Miss Jane Austen. Woo! Jane Austen, in your grave. This Mansfield Park is my first 17th century book that somebody actually had the mind to implicitly explain what the hell was going on. Because in most of the 17th century book I've read, and sorry to say, most of Jane Austen's books, you'd see things like going for balls and people calling on people, or houses calling on houses, and houses having names. But then nobody actually explains what that is. Like, I've never been to a ball, and I will never go to a ball. So how am I supposed to know what is going on here? So, but in this book, she kind of, because Sir Thomas Bertram organized a ball for Fanny Price, she gave an overview of the happenings or everything that led up to the ball. So you can kind of get a view of what a ball is. So for those of you who don't know, that were like me, a ball is basically a place where you just come and find the man you marry. Una go dance, so una go throw leg walk, and all of a sudden that's the man you want to marry. So in colloquial terms, but more officially, a ball is basically an arrangement in a house or something. This is not a dictionary, this is just what I understood. So they would organize a ball, and then people from different households will come together in hopes of being asked to dance. That's the girl will be hoping that a male will ask her to dance. Now, if this male is of a good consequence, has good income yearly, has a good disposition, she can decide to, okay, And then I think the number of times the man asks you to dance has a bit of a consequence. If they ask you to dance twice or more than twice, or if they ask you for your first dance, all of this has meanings. So this volume 2, they were like, we got to see, oh my god, it's starting to rain. Why does it start to rain every time I'm getting into my videos? Anyway, we start to see, we see like them organizing balls and things like that. Even calling on Mansfield personage, you just see how they live. And this volume 2 showed the literal, like, we were eating the slices of their life. So yeah, I think that was the whole plan for volume 2, and it was epic.
Believe my eyes. These people married. They married. They married. They mar they married. They married. Cousins. Jesus. How? How can that be? How can that be? How can that be? Oh my god. I'm so confused. I'm so I'm in a daze right now. I had to stare into space for like 3 minutes. What did they even write? What did she even write? She wrote, look at it. An hopeful undertaking to persuade her that her warm and sisterly regard for him would be foundation enough for wedded love. What? Oh, oh my god, that is so fucked up. I'm sorry. This book was not what I expected. I am shook. I am what can I say? I really thought Fanny and Henry would be end game, because I get the whole flirt thing, but I feel like people that flirt always have, like, they get second chances. Do you understand? Only for him to elope with a married woman and for Fanny to marry her cousin. Make that make sense, please.